Indiana, oh Indiana, Indiana, we're all for you. Mike, what about those Indiana Hoosiers?
That
Unbelievable.
was that was a fabulous game. It wasn't a blowout. It was an exciting game to watch, and the team I wanted to win won, so it was a great game.
It was a great game. Hey, first of all, listeners, thank you for tuning in to listen to the Colonel Mr. Bigg. This is our 12th episode, which is hard to believe, and we want to start off talking about the Indiana Hoosiers and the national championship they won and going undefeated for the season, which is just an unbelievable accomplishment. Crazy things here, Mike. I guess the Dick's Sporting Goods in Bloomington, Indiana, at 11:30 was going to put the national championship wear out, the sweatshirts, the T-shirts, and all that, and people started lining up at 7:00 before the game ever started in order to get in and get and it's crazy. And then my cousin at breakfast day said he was going around. He said he went to about 3 Dicks and he could not find any. And
Really?
I told him I saw them at the Meyer store. They just had tons of them. So, but people are going crazy here. It's just absolutely nuts.
It's just amazing what he did in 2 years. And from my understanding, Indiana had won 6 playoff games or 6 bowl games over the history of their, Indiana football, and 3 of them were this year.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's unbelievable. They were the most losingest team until this year. They won so many that Northwestern is now. So, but
He
just
can name
think
his
of what.
price.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I guess because of winning the national championship, his pay goes up to $14 million a year, which is unbelievable for a college coach. I mean, he said the NFL. He said they've already tried to talk to him. He said I'm not going nowhere. He said I love it here. He said I'm not going to go anywhere. It's just a great story, and I'm sure there'll be a movie made out, like Hoosiers, there'll be a movie made about it. And it is quite an accomplishment. You go from the doormat of being the losingest program in the country to now winning the national championship. It was a great game. It could have went either way, and it came all the way down to the end. It was,
It was great. There were a couple of fourth down calls, that touchdown run Mendoza had, but holy cow,
yeah.
a couple of times and a couple of pass plays late that I think his name is Becker, number 80,
Yeah.
caught.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And just unbelievable play calling and just a great job by Indiana. It was a good game. Miami has a
It was
great
good, yeah.
defense.
Oh, yeah, they do. And Becker he was there when Signetti got there, so he had been at IU, so he knew how losing seasons were. So,
Yeah.
it's just great that it happened. In Miami, yeah, they have nothing to be ashamed of. It was their defense is good, and they're going to be good next year. They're going to be good for years to come, I think. And I did hear that Fernando's brother Alberto has entered the transfer portal because Indiana went and got that quarterback from TCU, and so it'll be interesting to
He
see.
committed. He committed today.
To another school, Georgia
Yeah.
Tech, maybe. I heard Georgia Tech. Was that
I
was
think
that it?
I think
Or?
it was Georgia Tech. I'm looking right now. Let's see. Yep, he's going to Georgia Tech. Yep.
Okay, I thought it might be Duke since the Duke quarterback's going to Miami, and I mean, as long as the judge approves it, I guess it's in the court system now. So we'll see what happens there. But just a great game and a great college football season. I'm sure that they'll be rated high going into next year. So
Yeah.
wanted to get that out of the way first because it's kind of prevalent and just happened. So congratulations to the Hoosiers. Even from a Boilermaker fan, congratulations to the Hoosiers.
Yeah.
And being from
Yeah.
Indiana, it's just great for the whole state. So,
Absolutely. It was fun. That was a fun game to watch. Very
yeah,
fun.
it was.
So, hey, before we move on, Tommy, obviously, I think our listeners are used to us having something posted Monday morning after we record on Sunday. Well, Sunday we recorded, and I had a hell of a time. My video stopped on Riverside, which is the app, the website we use to record and do all this stuff. My video quit for like 9 seconds, about 4 or 5 minutes in, and I could not get the audio and video to line up, and it looked absolutely goofy. You would be talking, my mouth would be flapping, but nothing would be coming out, and then my mouth would be shut, and you'd hear my audio, and it was just pissing me off. So I made the decision after about 5 hours of trying to edit that together to scrub it, and that's why we're here today, and then I'll hopefully have this posted tonight or early tomorrow morning.
And then our plan is to, I'll be on vacation next week. Our plan is to do a podcast next Monday afternoon, so it'll be posted Tuesday, and then we'll get back on our regular schedule, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. So, um, I guess we'll kick things off with we had an unfortunate happening up here in the Royal School District back on January 13th. Abby Schuster, Abby Board, was a teacher at Royal High School, our alma mater, and where Rachel, your daughter, went to, Tommy. And Abby was a fabulous person. She taught for many years, and the day after Christmas, she ended up in the hospital. She was born with some issues, and then she had some other issues happen right after Christmas. She had some blood clots and she had a heart attack, and things looked like she was coming out of the woods. And then on January 13th, unfortunately, she had another heart attack and passed away at the too young age of 46 years old. And we just wanted to share with the Schuster and Board family, just share our condolences, and to the Royal School District. A lot of tears, a lot of posts on Facebook about Abby, and she was quite the person. If you went to the school, you would always see her there. She worked a lot of the sporting events, and just a very, very kind, very nice person. And our condolences to both families. And it was kind of cool. Last Friday, both the New Lisbon School District and Royal wore black and gold in remembrance of Abby. So we just wanted to share that with our listeners. And if you're from the area and you see some teachers or see the families, definitely pass on your condolences to them. And such a heartbreaking story, and we wish them all the best as they try to move forward.
We sure do. Yeah, she was Rachel, my daughter's fifth and sixth grade teacher at Royal when we lived up in Wisconsin, and she was a nice lady. She never wavered. She's kind of the same all the time, and yeah, she did kept the clock or something at the basketball
Yeah.
games and
Yep.
stuff, did she? Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry to hear
Score.
that.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. That's too bad. So. But we're going to kick things off with our first sponsor, Trailview Meats. Cody Vossen is the owner of Trailview Meats, about a couple of miles outside of Kendall on Highway 71 towards Kendall, or outside of Elroy towards Kendall. And Cody can sell you ground beef, steaks, roast, briskets, short ribs, and much, much more. He sells ground beef in 1 and 2 pound packages. And he's got ribeyes, porterhouses, T-bones, sirloins, anything you want. And we've ordered meat a number of times from Cody, and it's absolutely fabulous. We see his cattle when we drive by. We know what they're being fed, the grass and the grain, and nothing's being pumped into them. So if you have a need for meat, Trailview Meats, just outside of Elroy on Highway 71, give Cody a holler or get a hold of Tom or me, and we can link you up with Cody and get you off with some great, great meat.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Played basketball with Mike's son, and we watched him play. And his daughter played also at Royal, and just a great family. And always had fun with his dad and his mom. And yeah, I'm sure he puts out a good product. So yeah,
Yeah,
check that out. A lot of
it's
NFL firings and hirings and all this stuff going on, Mike. I don't know. I'm sure you had a chance to watch the playoffs, and I don't know. I'm sorry for the Bills. In fact, after they got beat, I told Penny, I said, I think I wouldn't be surprised either coach get fired, and he got fired
yeah,
next day. And
yeah.
I hear that he's interviewing for another job already. So these the guys just kind of bounce around. But he was a good coach. I always liked him. But man,
Yeah.
if you don't win, they're gonna move on.
I was surprised. And he could be in that same category as Mike Tomlin, both very good coaches, but they just couldn't get over that hump. I know Tomlin won one Super Bowl, but, Sean McDermott just got him to the playoffs, but just could not get him over that hump. And I think he'd be a fabulous coach. So we'll
Oh,
see
I think
where
so.
he ends up. Yeah.
See what happens to the
And
Packers. I see their defensive coordinator went to the Dolphins.
yep,
I don't know. I
yep.
I guess his only coaching job was in college, and, I don't know why those guys do that. Then when they fail, they just I don't know why they do it, but now the Packers will be looking for a defensive coordinator. You have any idea who it might be?
Well, I've seen a couple of names. One that really stands out to me that I'd really like to see the Packers get is Jimmy Leonard. He was big
Oh,
with
that'd
the
be
Badgers,
fantastic. Yeah,
player
that'd be
and coach,
fantastic.
and some people thought he would be the head coach for Wisconsin at some point, but that didn't happen. And I think Jimmy bringing him back to Wisconsin up to the Packers would be wonderful. I'd love to see him there.
And he'd be intense, man. That defense would be tremendous, I would think. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I think so. But we'll see what happens there. And Harbaugh's at the Giants, and yeah, just kind of a carousel of coaching changes, and we'll see
I
what
guess
happens
Robert
there. I was
Saleh got
surprised.
a job too. That's Saleh who was at the Jets, 49ers, and I think he's going to the Titans now. And I read
Okay,
today where his offensive coordinator might be the ex-coach of the Giants. What's his name? Dable. If he doesn't, they say he might go back to the Bills as head coach, which I don't know that that'll happen after the debacle he had at the Giants. I don't know who the
I
Bills will
saw that.
get. I don't know. I mean, that's a good job, and they're getting a brand new stadium. It'll be interesting
Yeah,
to see who they get.
yeah, a great fan base, a tough fan base, like you said, a new stadium, and they're going to have to bring in somebody that's solid, that's known, I would think. But we'll see what happens. I did see that about Dable going up there, but I can't see him going up to the Bills. But I
I
didn't see
think that'd be a
Harbaugh going
great
to the
place
Giants.
I think that'd be a great place for McCarthy.
Yeah, I do
I
too.
really do.
I do too.
If he doesn't get the Steelers job, I think the Bills would be an excellent decision for him. So we'll see what happens. But a lot of things going on there. You took a trip to Arizona, you and Jill here recently. What happened? How was that?
It was great. Great. We went down there. I have a former boss and his wife that live about 30 minutes south of Phoenix in Casa Grande, and we try to get down there once a year to see them. Great people. They're both in their early 80s, and they've got a beautiful home with a casita out front. If you're not familiar with a casita, it's kind of a separate, smaller building, mother-in-law's house. And so we had our own bathroom bed, and we've been down there 3 or 4 times now to see them. And we just have a great time. We go out to eat, enjoy each other's company. We have a lot of laughs and talk about old times and basically just sit around not doing a whole lot, which is what we want to do. And the weather down there, Tommy, 70 degrees each day. It was a little chilly in the morning and the evenings, no bugs. It's just wonderful. You can sit outside and enjoy
Yeah.
the weather and each other. And one interesting thing, when we were boarding and I was sitting in an exit row getting ready to head to Minneapolis out of Madison, that was our layover in Minneapolis. I was talking to a flight attendant, and I've always wondered why people are allowed to hold babies, during flights, takeoffs and landings and so on and
Right.
so forth, but you can't hold a computer or an iPad or anything. And the flight attendant, I don't know how we got on that subject, but she told me a story that years ago there was a terrible plane crash and a mother was holding a baby, and the baby was the only survivor. So the FAA thinks what happens is, the mother or the father will actually shield the child if there's an issue on board an aircraft, and that's probably the safest place for a baby to be and not strapped in a seat or a car seat somewhere. But everything else, so it's not flying around, needs to be put away. But I thought that was very interesting because I never understood why a baby could be held, something as precious as a baby, but after she explained it, it made sense. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to
Yeah. I
share
never.
that
I never.
with the
Never
listeners.
thought about that. I mean, it always happens. I know Rachel's held Ayla and Dacia. I guess
Mhm.
you can't get their own seat till they're 2 years old or something. I guess you can hold them till they're two, but
Right. Yep.
that makes a lot of sense. I mean, uh, but again, I don't understand why. I guess the laptop would be flying around or something if you had a
Yeah.
crash or something. I mean, I've always didn't understand. I mean, I always read a book, while I was taking off and stuff. But I
Yep.
guess I can
Yep.
understand it now. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Hey, we
Yep.
got our
So,
second sponsor is a new sponsor for us. We introduced her last week, and that's Erica's Place in Cicero and Noblesville. She has two locations. Erica Cecil Flanders is the owner, my cousin, and she's a great lady and runs a fantastic operation. Going to Erica's Place just like sitting at your grandma's table and enjoying the company. It's kind of like this website, just sitting around a table talking and bullshitting and doing the things. But while you're there, they got some old fashioned food that I call it. But they got fried bologna. They got a fried bologna sandwich. They got a fried bologna egg sandwich in the morning. They got shit on a shingle, which is chipped beef gravy in the morning, and in the evening they got country fried steak, which is an old stable that my aunt used to make, and liver and onions. I love liver and onions, and they have the best around. Fried pickles as an appetizer, which is kind of an old timer, and then they have the biggest baked potatoes I've ever seen. They're about they got to weigh a pound. There's no doubt about that. She loads them up, and it's just amazing. It's almost impossible to eat one. And then Penny likes their gyros. She serves a Greek gyro, which is kind of off the beaten path, but as far as what she serves, but just excellent food at both locations. They're open 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sundays, and carryouts are welcome. So check them out. Erica's Place in Noblesville and Cicero.
Sounds like a great place to eat. We'll have to go there the next time I'm down.
We will go there. It's a great place to eat. It's a very good place to eat. And Are these pigs went to market this segment this week is I'm going to talk about Alaska and the trip I took to Alaska, Penny and I, a couple of years ago, and it's just probably the best trip I've ever taken in my life. I traveled the whole country, and Alaska was one state I'd never been to, so we Penny arranged a cruise for us on the Princess Cruise Line, and I'd never taken a cruise, and I was always leered to do that, and but it was fabulous. We flew to Seattle, we drove to Vancouver and got on the ship, and then went up to Alaska. 7 days on a ship and then 7 days on land. It was just a fabulous time. We we cruised by the glaciers and saw the big glaciers and saw a lot of wildlife from the ship. We had a balcony, so it was really nice to go out and kind of watch the dolphins. And we saw a couple whales, not many, but saw a couple whales. And then once we got on the bus in Skagway, I think it was Skagway we got on the bus. Anyway, we got on a bus to go to stay in Denali Lounge, and we had to go through a tunnel, about a half-mile long tunnel, and it was the only way in or out of this city. And there was a railroad track right down the middle, and so we had to wait about an hour because there was a train coming. They had to come in, unload, and then go back out before we could ever get out. So it was kind of cool to see that. And then while we were in Skagway, one of the main places we went was a place called the Red Onion, and the Red Onion was a brothel back in the day when the gold was pretty prevalent up there, and they still had the ladies in the dresses and the garters and the bar, and they took you upstairs and showed you the room, and I was joking around with one and all this stuff, and she had to be in her 50s, and I said, "So how much for an hour?" And she said, "Honey, you couldn't handle me." But then we went to Denali and in a bus, and we did see Denali. We saw not briefly, but we did see Denali, and they said that you only see it about 30% of the time. But about only 30% of the
Mhm.
visitors go there see it. So we were fortunate to do that and did a lot of walking. We walked about 28 miles apiece on that trip. So and then we ended up in Fairbanks. We went to a dog sled training facility, which was very fascinating to me to watch the dogs and learn how that Iditarod they run up there and how they train the dogs to do that. And the dogs aren't really big, but they're just stout. I mean, they're stout, and the way they teach them is just amazing. But it was just if you have a chance, take a cruise to Alaska. It was just a fabulous trip, and I would recommend it for anybody.
Tommy, when you were on the boat, did you get or did they talk about being on the right side of the boat or the left side of the boat as you went up through the passage?
Well, we'd read reviews that you should be on the right side, and we did get on the right side. I think it was the right side. I think we got on the right side, and that you did see a lot more. I think. I mean, we were on the left side, so I don't know what they saw, but we saw plenty. It was just amazing to do that, and uh, it was pretty cool. When you got on, they gave you a watch, and that watch told you, like, when you got within 100, but not 100, 50 feet of your room, your door was automatically unlocked. And then when you leave, it would automatically lock. So, and then the watch told we found somebody told us this first day you're on the ship, find a bar that you like and go there every time that way, and find some restaurants you like. And so we did that. And so uh, we'd be walking up to the bar, and you'd be 20 feet away from the bar, and the bartender would have our drinks ready for us because he knew what we wanted because it saw the watch told him we were coming. And it was the same bartender, and we just had a ball there. And we found a couple of restaurants we like. We only went to the buffet once, and it wasn't that good. It's just a lot of food. I mean, it was okay. We went there for breakfast, and it was okay. But we went by and walked through for lunch and dinner, and we just found it was better to go to a restaurant and get a nice meal. And so we did that. And the entertainment was fantastic. We saw 3 shows while we were there, and it was just great. The whole thing was just fantastic, and I don't know what it cost. Penny took care of it, but it doesn't matter what it costs as long as you have those memories and you enjoyed it. So I would recommend it for anybody that hasn't been. If you haven't been, you should sometime in your lifetime go to Alaska. Either fly to Alaska or take a cruise or whatever. But it's just a fabulous state.
Yeah, I took Jill up there a few years ago, and I've been up there twice, once for work and once for pleasure. And speaking of Denali, I heard the same thing. Only 30% of the people see it. With the whole week we were up there, we could see it every day. And then we were staying in Talkeetna, and there were biplanes that would come in and out of there. And I went over to the office and said, "Hey, if you have, do you have any openings?" And they said, "Well, if somebody cancels, we'll come and get you, and you could go up." And a day or two later, they came and got me, and I was a little tentative, but I got to go up, and we flew around the mountain, and it was a little eerie. I was happy when we landed. Great pilot, but I did ask him, why planes crash up there occasionally, and he said the pilots are just don't adjust to the wind appropriately, and they're not aware of the wind shears and such, and they get pushed into the mountainside. But thank God that didn't happen to
Oh,
us. And then
yeah.
speaking of your dog sled experience, Jill and I actually went dog sledding out in Jackson a few years ago. And what amazed me, the dogs are small and they're just barking, 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 barking. And as soon as they
Right.
say mush, it's quiet. You don't hear a sound.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
amazing. So yeah, good times. Yeah, and it is a beautiful place. Absolutely beautiful up there.
That's on the bucket list.
So
Jackson Hole's on the bucket list. So that's definitely
yeah,
someplace we want to go. And she puts in every year for us to go get one of our timeshares up there, and they fill up pretty quickly. So we haven't been that fortunate enough to get one. And I said, well, get one, within distance of there, because I would like to go somewhere in Idaho and somewhere in that area, and to drive to Glacier State National Park from Jackson Hole is it's about 3.5 hours. It's a little drive, but I definitely want to go there. We've been to Yellowstone, but I want to go to Glacier, and so we're going to get there one of these days. So
yeah. Beautiful area. Beautiful area. A little bit of politics. Flew through the Minneapolis airport this past last week, and I had read an article, Tommy, about all the money, from the fraud that allegedly is happening in Minnesota. All the money, hundreds of thousands of dollars that had been going through the airport in suitcases and leaving the country. And it got me thinking, is somebody through the chain of command higher up, getting paid off and letting that stuff go. I mean, I can't even get a bottle of water through the airport, and you're seeing
right.
luggage, with hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't know. Maybe they're checking the bags and they're not being scanned. I'm not sure, but I'm sure it'll be looked into, and hopefully they can solve that. But I just wanted to mention, since we were through the airport, and it's a beautiful airport, but just kind of ticks you off knowing that all of our taxpayer money, a lot of our taxpayer money, is going right out the door into other countries. But
I'm sure they got somebody they're paying off at the airport that allows that to happen. It's probably
yeah,
It's just amazing what's going on up there. I mean, it's constant. Now you hear everything that's going on, and now I guess the Judicial Committee, I think today was interviewing people from up there, and I don't know if Walt's was supposed to go. I don't know if he went today or not, but he was supposed to go in front of them, I think. But the guy's an
yeah.
idiot. I don't know. Uh,
I got into an argument with a family member. I'm not going to say who, but they think Walls is the next greatest thing next to sliced bread, and that ICE is wrong to be up there. And I brought up the fraud, and they don't believe that that's happening. It's just crazy. But to
I
each
don't
their
know
own.
who it was. I guess they showed that the pictures of like hundreds of pictures of stack of pictures of people that they're going after, and it's all criminals. It's not the normal person. They're going after criminals and trying to get criminals out of our country, and they've got to. I mean, there was a protest here about that. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
There was protests at a
yeah,
local high school here about
yeah.
it's crazy. And then
Well,
uh,
if they watch the news, they're going to get the wrong information, and they
yep,
think that
yep.
Tommy and Susie from next door are being deported, and that's not the case at
Right.
all.
No, not at all, it's not at all. Ayla came, she was all excited after the national championship game. She came in the next morning, we're talking about the game. Of course, her dad's a Miami fan, and she said, "Papaw, did you know President Trump was a Miami fan?" And I said, "You gotta be kidding me." And she said, "No, his granddaughter had a Miami shirt on and everything." And I said, "If he's a Miami fan, I don't like him no more." But he was there. You could see it showed him in the crowd. I mean, up in his suite and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
and
But
yeah, during the national anthem, they showed him, and the crowd erupted. You know,
yeah,
they
yeah,
were
they did.
cheering
I
for
mean,
him. So yeah,
yeah, he just gets it from every which way. It's just, I mean, it's no different than if a Democrat was in there, I mean, it's just politics the way it is. It's crazy. But
yep, yep.
hey, we got a new segment on. People's been asking for us to in our tagline. We've got the fact that we talk about sex, and we haven't talked about a lot of sex, and we certainly aren't going to get real vulgar. But we got a new episode, a new spot section called "Sex on the Beach." And what we're going to do in this segment is talk about today, we're going to talk about strange places that you've had sex personally, or someone's told you you've had sex. And I guess I don't want to tell stories on myself or anything, but I think we all, as kids, as teenagers, went out and parked and did it in cars. And uh, I've heard of people doing it in the backseat of a Volkswagen. There's no way in hell I could ever be able to do that. But back when I was a teenager, many, many years ago, and women that listen to this today will probably don't even know what the hell I'm talking about, but girls wore girdles. At least the heavy-set girl that I dated wore a girdle. It try to take that thing off in the front seat of a car. It's almost impossible. I almost had to get out and look for the crowbar in the trunk before I could get the damn thing off. Uh, but, it's just the normal I've never done it in really any crazy place. I mean, on the countertop in the kitchen and dining room table and things like that, but never, nothing in public. I've never done it in an airplane. You've heard of people doing it in airplanes and all kinds of things. But, and I remember I was thinking about this. I don't know if you remember back, I think it was in Toronto, in the ballpark, it was that hotel and that window was
Yeah,
open the one time and
yeah.
couple was in there going at it, and the camera spotted them in there going at it. It was I've never
Hey,
done it in
hey,
public, and it's crazy.
hey, before you go on, it spurred something. Did you see during the national championship game that ESPN, that's who carried it, right? Was it ESPN?
Yeah, yeah.
They cut to that girl in the audience, went back to Beck, and then back to that girl in the audience. Did you know who that was?
No.
That was a porn star. They went back to
It's his
her
gir
twice.
Is that his girlfriend?
No, 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 no. It's just
Oh,
whoever the producer was and whoever was running the camera, and I forget the girl's name. I looked her up, and she's a porn star. But they were getting some slack because they cut to her, went back out to Beck, and then cut back to her. They have nothing. They're not together. But it was just that instead of picking out
huh.
some beautiful Miami fan, they picked out this porn star twice and had her on TV. But
Well,
anyway,
every game, they usually find some, woman in the audience or somebody. They always
yeah.
once in a while, you always see it. It's almost every game you watch, they find somebody in the audience, and
Her
they
last name's
find, but,
Danger. I forget what her first name is, but she's a
oh,
very
really?
attractive young lady. But she's a porn star. But
No
anyway,
kidding.
yeah. Carry on with your story. If not, I've got one from a friend.
Go ahead. Let's hear that one.
Well, actually, a coworker. I worked with him back in the late '90s, and this guy was a little bit different. But he was telling me the strangest place he had ever had sex, or things that him and his girlfriend or wife would do is while they were having sex, they would get up on a dresser. I don't know how they did this. They'd get up on a dresser, and as he was getting to the point of climax, he would literally be holding her, still doing the deed, and jump onto the bed with her. So when he climaxed is when they would smack down onto the bed, and it would just, I don't know what it would
Really?
do, force it to be stronger or whatever.
Oh my
Just
god.
seemed
Maybe
very
maybe she's
strange.
trying to have a boy. I heard that, if you gotta do a certain way to have a boy. I don't know if that's But
and then he would tell me too that they would go out and find freshly dug, finished graves where there had just been a funeral, and they would have sex on top of these graves and on top of the dirt. And I'm like, oh my God.
yeah, I've
That's
heard of people doing the graveyard. That's just I'm not a public I'm not a PDA person. Penny gets upset a little bit. I just don't hold hands in public, and I don't like to kiss I mean, a kiss on the cheek once in a while or something. We'll hold hands at the movie and things, but I don't do that. I could not. I don't think I could do it in public. I don't. I mean, now I know I couldn't do it in public. But you talk about jumping on the bed. Hell, I've dated some girls that you've had to take a running start from one end of the room to the other to get through the layers of what to get there. It's just that kind of leads into our other topic too of what we prefer down there when we talk about the. Do we like carpet or we like tile or hardwood floors or what do we like down there? And I like a landing
it's
strip, little landing strip. I don't like to have to, later on, get a toothpick and get those hairs out my teeth, it's kinda
you got to have it cleaned up. That's for sure.
That's
It's
true.
funny. We went to the hardwood floors for many years, and now it seems like the landing strips have definitely made their way back. So
Yeah, I
I think
think
they're
so. I mean,
sexy.
there's so many appliances or tools now that you can buy that to take care of
Yeah.
I mean, for men, they got the Manscaped things you can buy and things like that, and,
Yeah. What do you
uh,
think about
eh
waxing, Tommy?
I mean, I like the finished product, but I certainly hell wouldn't wanna go through it. I can't imagine doing that. I don't know. I think it's, a lot of people enjoy that. It's kinda I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Would you try it?
Hell no. Hell, when I had the stents put in me the first time, they went up my groin and they had that bandage on there and they shaved pretty well, but that hair grows back, and then when they ripped
Oh,
that bandage off, ooh, I thought I was gonna die. It's almost
and
as
it
bad as
itches.
having a it's almost as bad as having a catheter pulled out.
Ugh. Yeah. I've had
It's
that.
crazy. I'll give you my quick catheter story. I had to go have a procedure done. You've had them before too, but I had to have a procedure done, so I had to bring a catheter home with me overnight, and I'll tell you what, it was the worst night I ever spent in my life. I just could not it just bugged the crap out of me, and, you had to lay it on the side of the bed while you're laying in bed, and it just, get up, and it was crazy. Anyway, the next day, I went in to have it taken out, and so, you walk in, it's got this bag, and you're trying to be so people don't notice it. I mean, there's probably a lot of people there with a bag, but anyway, there's nothing against her, but this big lady, she was a black lady, but came to the door, probably weighed about 450, and she said, "Mr. Williams," and I said, "Yep." She said, "Okay, follow me." So we went in this room, and she said, "Take your pants down," and she said, "Put this towel over yourself," and she said, "I'll be back in just a second." I said, "Okay," and so I laid back, the catheter there in the bag and all this stuff, and she actually took the bag off before she left. She took the bag off and she said, "I'll be back." And then they had to go in and irrigate it or something before she left. And she said, "I'll be back." So she came back and she said, "Now," when she, before she took the towel, or before she ever saw it, I said, "Now you're gonna have a surprise down there, honey, when you look at that." And she says, "Honey, I've seen them all." She said, "You can't tell me nothing. I've seen the biggest in the world, and I've seen the smallest in the world." And I said, "Well, you, you might see the latter when you take this off." Anyway, she took off and she said, "Now I'm going to count to three, honey, and I want you to take the deepest breath you possibly could take." I said, "Okay." She went, "1, 2," and pulled that sumbitch out before I could even, and I'll tell you what, you talk about hurt. That is the worst feeling in the world for a man. I don't It has to be second only to having a baby, I would think. I mean,
I
it
I
hurts bad.
I had a catheter for a week after my prostate
Oh my
surgery,
god,
and
I don't think I could do it, Mike. I don't think I could do it.
this the same thing. The first night, I slept in a different bed from Jill, and I had the bag hanging off to the side, and I just the thought of something being stuck in there, I thought I was gonna have a nervous breakdown. Each day got better. I was able to, taking a number 2 was an issue with the catheter in, taking a
Yeah.
shower, you had to learn it. Each day got a little bit better, but the day I went back to have it taken out, I had the greatest nurse, and I was so scared. I thought it was gonna hurt. She said she was going to fill my bladder, and when it felt like it was extremely full and that I had to pee, she was gonna pull it out, which she did, and she took it out, and when it was over, I said, "I owe you a 12-pack." I mean, no pain at all.
No
And
kidding.
I was so happy, and what I didn't know is all the extra fluids, they were measuring that. So when I went to see the urologist after all this was done, the nurse came in and said that I had gone enough that I wouldn't have to catheterize myself for the rest of my life, and I'm thinking, I didn't even know that was, a possibility. Thank God. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I
I've
could
got
do
a
it.
friend of mine that does that. He has to do that every time he goes to the bathroom. He carries catheters
Yeah,
with him, and
yeah.
I told him, I said, I don't think. He said, no. He said, I didn't think I could do it. He said, you get used to it. You just got. That's. He said, it's the only way I could pee. He said,
Yeah,
I just don't
yeah,
know. I mean, I guess you can get used to anything, but
yeah,
I would rather do that than have a bag without question. I mean,
yeah,
I could
yeah,
probably learn to do that without a bag, but
yeah.
the thing is,
And
they only make those catheters. They don't make short ones for little penises and big ones for big penises. They make them all the same size. So you gotta.
come out the backside.
That's right. That's right. So
Yeah,
it's
I've got a friend, a classmate, he's 60, and a year or 2 ago, he fell off, his garage roof and lost his spleen or bladder or something, really messed up
really.
his backside, and he has to use a catheter 4, 5, 6 times a day when he goes, and I'm like, "Oh my god," but
Yes, a
he does
buddy of
it.
mine. Every time he goes, he has to use it.
Yep,
And he says it's just part of my life now. And he says I'm just
yep,
used to it. He said, it's
exactly.
just something I got used to. So, well, our final sponsor here is our the sponsor that has sponsored us our whole time since we started this podcast, and that is Healthy Prelude, just outside of Elroy, Wisconsin, owned by Anna Smart. I'm going to talk rather than the products today. I'm going to talk a little bit about Anna. She's a terrific lady, and she's an LMT, which is a licensed massage therapist. She's the owner of Healthy Preludes. She's a therapist, a yoga instructor, and a facial decoding she can do. The Healthy Prelude journey began in 1998 when Suzanne and Anna, Suzanne's Anna's mother, graduated from the A Spirit Touch Institute of Massage and Body Works. They joined forces after working individually for some years. And in 2019, Anna became the sole owner of the business while Suzanne entered semi retirement. However, Suzanne's devotion to therapeutic work on infants and children still persists. She still does that. Anna's been a licensed massage therapist and manual therapist for over 20 years, specializing in various techniques such as deep tissue manipulation, facial decoding, sports massage, Reiki, raindrop technique, zero balancing. She also incorporates cupping, gui sha, essential oils, and custom blend CBD formulations into her treatments. Since 2004, Anna has been practicing yoga and weight training. Her love for gardening led her to become a master gardener and explore medicinal herbs. I'm having trouble with words today. She created the shits. I always say schnitz. This shits the bomb. Her own line of tropical body products made with CBD and other organic ingredients, with a focus on pain, autoimmune, and beauty-based products. Bounce Female and Wool Charlie are just a couple of her creations, along with other herbal balms, infusions, and tinctures. In her free time, she loves outdoor activities like biking, boating, or canning, and spending quality time with her dogs brings joy to Anna. And she's just a fantastic person, and has some excellent products. So go to healthyprelude.com or theshitsthebomb.com. Again, great products, great person.
Last night, Tommy, my legs, my quads were just killing me again. I've been working out a lot at Fort
Right.
McCoy, and I
Yeah.
put some of that magnesium on my quad area, and
Yeah.
gone, gone. That stuff works.
The Wool Charlie works. I put it on my hands. This is a tough week for me getting ready to go on vacation. Got to get concessions, extra inventory. And today I had my truck. I could not have got another box in my back of my truck or the front of my truck. It was packed. And in my hands, I'll rub them tonight with Wool Charlie, and it really helps. She has great product, and she's a great massage therapist. And we haven't been able to find one down here like her. So it's
We go once a month. She's fabulous.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna bring back,
Bourbon.
we're gonna bring back Bigg's Bourbon Basement, today, and we're gonna talk about Four Roses. I got the Four Roses small batch select here today. You can see the bottle. It's kind of a unique bottle that's available. Four Roses is, You might say, how in the world why do you come up with Four Roses Distillery? Well, the founder, Paul Jones Jr., um, made a marriage proposal to some Southern belle, and they were getting ready to go to the grand ball. And he said, "If you want to marry me," he said, "would you please wear a corsage of four roses to the grand ball?" And sure enough, she did. And that was when he started the distillery. He named it Four Roses, and they make 10 recipes with varying mash bills. Some of them from 60% corn up to 75% corn. And the small batch I showed you, it's 104 proof, and it's been aged 6 to 7 years. And it's a great sipping. That's a great sipping. Anything over 104, I don't like to sip. I'll have to mix that, but anything under 104, and I never had it till we went on the Bourbon Trail, and I bought it, and we love it. And it's kind of amazing that these bourbon experts, they can smell and taste and have the finish, and it's just different stuff. They say I taste apricots and berries
Yeah.
and vanilla and all that stuff, and sometimes I do taste that, and other times I don't. And then um, the taste, sometimes raspberries and cloves and nutmeg, but we learned up there, the first sip you sip, and you kind of leave it on your tongue a little bit, and you just take a big swallow, and then you just kind of let it sit there, and then you blow it out. And it kind of we've learned to love bourbon, and in fact, we're headed Friday down to Alabama. We're going to stop in Lynchburg, Tennessee, to the Jack Daniel's distillery and take a tour there. So hopefully, with the weather, I'll tell you what, Mike, there's some weather coming in there. They say
Yeah.
they could get up to 3 inches of ice in northern Alabama, and that's
Jeez.
I'm
Oh,
hoping we get to the hotel. They say Friday evening, so I'm hoping we can get there before it starts. And I told a friend of mine that is going to go down with us. I said, we'll get to the hotel, and if we can't leave the next morning, we won't leave. I mean, it's just, we'll do what, but I think we can get there. So I'm not concerned about that. It's going to be cold. They say the highest day down there is going to be 58, which don't make a lot of
wow.
sense, but it's going to be 30 below zero here. So yeah, I guess it's a
Yeah.
little warmer down there. So we're kind of looking forward
Yeah.
to that. And,
They're talking, I'm sorry, they're talking about 45 below up here, and I heard something about trees exploding. I don't know what the heck that means, but
unbelievable.
it's
I
going to be
don't know yet.
cold. It's going to be
Yeah.
cold.
Well, we'll take a sweatshirt, and then this place, or the condo place we're staying, has an indoor heated pool. So if we have to, and if it's
Do some
58, if it's 58, 60, I mean, I'll go walk on the beach, at the ocean. But we're going to be able to see the ocean. I just like sitting out in the morning on the balcony, drinking coffee, listening to the waves. I mean, that's if I could live like that, it'd be fantastic. I just think it does something for your soul when you do in the morning, and you just listen to that. It just kind of gets you ready for the morning. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. So next week, like I said, we'll probably do a podcast on Monday, and we're going to have our best friends with us. And Mike will have Randy Fry, a friend of his from high school, probably grade school, and I'm going to have Jeff Scher with me, who been a friend of mine since third grade, and we went to college together, and we roomed together in college, and has been a good friend of mine for years. So it'll be
Yeah,
fun to
Rand,
reminisce and talk about memories and things like that. So
yeah. And Randy, I think, came to Kendall, where I went to grade school. I think it was third grade also, and that's where we first. Randy was one of, I think, four. He was a grade behind me. And so Randy's a very, very smart individual. And so him and I think three other guys would come to my classroom for a lot of different classes. And so that's where we first knew each other. And then when we moved to Elroy and had our kids became very good friends. And Randy and myself and Kathy and Jill and the four of us became good friends. And all six of us basically are very good friends. And so it'd be
yes,
fun to have those friends on and share some memories.
yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good.
So
Any
there was something
numbers? You
else.
got any numbers, Mike? Or you got any numbers for
Well,
us? So you don't have it.
yeah, a few numbers. We're still hanging tough at 66 followers, but before we went on, I looked at the numbers from our last podcast, and we're pushing 100, which is great.
Really?
Yeah, between
Yeah.
the Spotify right now, our last podcast has 50 listens on Spotify, and then when you go to the two channels that I have it on, and now I'm just going to be posting it on. Well, I'll probably still post it on both 1114 Traveler and then the Colonel and Mr. Bigg. the two YouTube channels, and with those we had 40 plus. So we're pushing close to 100 from our last podcast. Still holding tough at 66, but I just wish people would go on and hit that follow button and click the bell and just get our
Yeah,
listeners. I know people are
yeah,
listening. We just need them to follow us a little bit more. So hopefully we
yeah. A
get
lot
that
of
out.
people
But
are listening.
yeah, again, YouTube 1114 Traveler or the Colonel and Mr. Big. We've got two channels that it will be posted on, and then on Spotify you can just do the search and find it there.
I mean, we've only done 12 episodes, so it's not like we've done 100 and we still are searching for followers. So I think
Right.
it's amazing that I think it's amazing that anybody listens to us, but I'm glad they do. I'm glad they do, and I
Yeah.
tell all the friends that I have, I send it out every week and ask them to listen, and so they must be listening. And yeah, if you are listening, just I don't know how you subscribe on YouTube. I guess is there some? How do you subscribe on YouTube, Mike? Just to
When you go to the channel, you'll see a subscribe button. You just have to click up there,
oh, it says
and
subscribe. Okay.
yeah,
Okay. And
it
it doesn't
says
cost a
subscribe.
thing. It just tells
Not
you
nothing.
that every time a episode comes up, it's going to notify you that an episode's up.
Yep.
So,
Yep. And then obviously, if we ever do get big, once you get to a certain level of subscribers and certain level of hours that people have viewed, then you can start monetizing your podcast. But we're a long ways from that. But we just want people to subscribe. And like you said, it's free. It sounds like you have to pay when you say the word subscribe, but it's free. So please
right,
subscribe.
right. And it's not our intention to monetize. I mean, but it'd be nice for a sponsor to pay, for
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing these three sponsors now for nothing because they're good friends of ours. So I mean, it's
Right. Right.
which we don't mind doing. And then if it gets something for us, and like I think I mentioned before, Erica said that if you come in her restaurant and mention that you heard about the restaurant on the Colonel Mr. Big, that you'll get a discount off your meal. So
Good deal.
that'll help a little bit. So, yeah, I told them all. I've told her, you know, uh, I texted Anna and told her that when we get big on ESPN, she's going to have to start paying for it. So I don't know that we'd be on ESPN, but wherever it'd be nice to be on Sirius. You know what? I listen to those guys on Sirius Radio, and I'm thinking, I'd be terrific just to,
Yeah.
it'd be fun to do a daily one, but and a lot of those do daily ones for 4 hours. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure we could do that. It's just a matter of having the right people and the research that you could have to do that with us, and it would be fun to do that because I certainly enjoy listening to those people. Listen mostly to sports, but there's a lot of other planes on Sirius Radio that I listen to.
I listened to a guy called Sean Ryan. He's a Navy SEAL, retired now, and he's had some very high profile special operators on there, and some of his podcasts go 5 and 6 hours with the same guy. And it's
Really?
interesting. You sit there and listen to the whole
Yeah,
thing, but it's just
yeah, yeah,
amazing. Just amazing.
yeah. I
So,
don't listen
yeah.
to a I mean, while we're traveling, now if we're driving for 5 or 6 hours, I might listen to somebody for 3 or 4 hours, but I usually in and out of the car and listen. While we're going on a trip, we usually kind of listen to some podcast, so it'd be fun to do. But we just appreciate you listening and telling your friends about it so other people can listen, and we just enjoy doing it. That's one thing. I get to talk to Mike every week that normally we wouldn't do that, so it's great to be able to do that. And I don't know if you've
You
thought
know,
about I don't know if you thought about why you're going to be gone in Europe for a month, but I don't know if you still want to do it or not. The last time we did it over
yeah.
there, it seemed to work pretty good. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I plan on doing it. So
okay,
we'll just
good.
coordinate our
Okay.
times. And I
All
think
right.
I'll be
Super.
6 or 7 hours ahead of you and we'll coordinate it. But
Super.
one last thing on subscribers, Tommy, we follow this couple that started YouTubing back in 2016. They lived on $75 a day. They were going to travel the world for a year and then go from there and see what happened. I think they wanted to be teachers or something. And now it's 2026 and they're still YouTubing. They have almost 5 million followers and they're making huge, huge money. And again, not that we want to do that, but it just proves that you put something out there that's a little bit different that people find interesting and you go from thinking, this turned into nothing. But look at those two. They've got almost 5 million viewers or
Right.
subscribers
Right.
already. So it's
Right.
crazy.
Yep. It is crazy. It's crazy. Well,
Well, you drive safe.
we're trying to add segments,
Yeah.
like these places go to market and show you some pictures of places we've been to, and maybe that'll spark some interest too. But
And And you mentioned it before too. If people have something they want us to talk about, send us a message or put a comment in the comment box, and we'll bring it up and talk about it. And
Hey, before we leave, real quick, I forgot. I'm glad you said that. I forgot about that. I've got a grandson that listens to us religiously, and he sent me a question and to ask you. And let's see what he said. He asked me, God, where's it at? Here it goes. He said, "Hey, Papa, I've been turning into the podcast. Love it. I would like to hear Mike's opinion on mandatory terms of service because you go overseas and most militaries have a mandatory 2-year term of service or 3. And I am a firm believer that we need that because I think it would fix a lot of the issues that we have with the younger generation. Let them see a third world country and really see what oppression is." So do you have anything to say about mandatory terms or?
yeah, I do. And I love the question. I don't know how we would ever get there, but I really wish we had at least like a 2-year term where people have to serve. And I think it would bring out so much, as far as responsibility and work ethic and contributing and loving the country that you are, protecting and working for. As far as, I saw when I was the director of the Challenge Academy, semi quasi, and this was for kids. But when you put people in a structured environment and give them 3 hot meals a day and a safe place to sleep every night and teach them skills, it is amazing how the worst young person that I was dealing with at the time totally can do a 180 and switch their life around. And I can only imagine, we can all only imagine that if people were required to do that 2-year service or whatever, how it could fix so many problems, and give people job skills, incentives to, yes, I have to do this for 2 years, but here's what I'm going to get out of it type of thing. And I think it would fix many, many of the problems that we have, and hopefully bring back the people to really have that patriotic spirit, a person, part of themselves, and just get back to loving
Right.
our country. So great
Right.
question. I love it. And I do wish we had
Yeah,
at least a 2-year service.
Blake, I apologize. I forgot about that, and I'm glad you brought that up because I completely
Yeah.
slipped my mind. But yeah, he had asked me that question
Great
before our
question.
last podcast. But yeah, he was in the military. In fact, I got to find out. He said he's trying to get his disability from the military. So I don't know. I didn't know that what happened, but I'll have to find that out. It's a long story, but it's Mike's son that he had when he was in high school, and he's definitely a good kid. He works for a concrete company, and I really appreciate the fact that he listens to every one of them. He said he hasn't missed one yet, so
Good deal.
he's probably going nuts because this one haven't been on this week. So,
Yeah.
so Blake, I apologize, buddy, that we forgot your question, but we got it on, and hopefully Mike answered it for you. If you didn't, just text me, and let me know, and if you want to know something else, I'll be glad to ask him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Hey, listen,
Yeah.
and if people are listening, if you got a question, just text me or Mike, and we'll bring it up. We certainly would love to do that and talk about that. That certainly
Mhm.
would give us some things to talk about. And if we can ever figure out how to if we ever go live and have people call in, that would be terrific too. But we're not to that
Yeah.
point yet, and hopefully we'll get to that point someday. But
Well, I was looking before we went on. There's a live stream button on here. Maybe I should mess with that and just see, to go live. And then if people could, if they're watching, maybe they can chat. I don't know how that works, but I could figure it out, I suppose.
could we,
and
real
could try to
quick,
do that.
could we go live and then also so that we record it and post it later? I mean, can you do that, or I don't know
I
if you
don't
can do
know.
that
I
or
mean,
not?
I could definitely research it, and that's
Yeah,
the next step
I
we
mean,
should get to.
yeah, I mean, but right now, if people have anything they want us to talk about or have a question, just text us, me or Mike, and
Yeah.
we'll be glad to
Yeah.
answer your question. And
Or drop it in the comments. Yep.
right,
Yep.
drop it in the comments, or if you don't know our phone number, if you're just drop it in the comments, and we'll be glad to bring it up. So we appreciate you listening, and we look forward to doing this as long as we possibly can. And like I said, next week we'll do it. I'll be in Dauphin Island, Alabama, and have a friend with me, and we'll do it next week. So Mike, good
Sounds
talking to
good.
you.
You too, Tommy. Drive safe. Have a great time down
All
in
right.
Alabama,
And
and
we'll talk
let
about
us
it
know when you
next.
get there.
Yep. We'll talk about it next week.
Yep.
All right, buddy. Take
All right.
care. Love
Yep.
you.
You too. Love you. Love you
See
too.
ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.